Yep. And I'm excited today to interview Micah Newcome, and he has a brand new book, The Adventures of Cari and Joe. And he's going to be sharing about his book today and his life with autism as an author and very successful young man. Great young book he just has come out for children who are on the spectrum and also kids not on the spectrum to learn about autism. And my first question is this: as a child, what were some of your challenges you experienced with autism?
Uh, well, some of the challenges with autism is that not everybody understands what autism is. Like, for instance, I had a fixation. I really like certain colors, like on cops, which is something that my aunt didn't always understand when it came to that. Certain things I really liked. It,
And then you kind of answered the one question, but what were some other enthusiasm and passions that you had with having autism?
oh, I love sports.
What's your favorite sports team?
Uh, in baseball, it's the Yankees. The Yankees.
Yankees?
I like
Who's
it
your
when
favorite
games.
player all time?
Derek Jeter
Derek Jeter.
and
And
Peyton
then he's
Manning.
from Detroit. He's from Kalamazoo, and I'm going to be speaking right where he's from the second week in October, the big conference,
Mm,
right in the city he's from. And then mine's the Detroit Lions, and I got my honey badger, and that's one of my
mm,
passions that I have. And what age were you when you first got interested in baseball?
uh, around 8 or 9. I
Have you
got
been to any games?
yes. First game I went to was we went to watch the Anaheim Angels play the Mariners, but since then I try to go every couple years to a game.
So Anaheim's the closest stadium to you.
No, the closest stadium is Oakland, which the
Oakland.
Yankees just had the last series there, and which I went there a couple years ago with a friend from church. We went and spent 3 days in Oakland
Yeah, I was a big
to
Jose
watch the Yankees
Canseco
play.
fan.
And it was fun because Judge hit his 50th home run, and he finished the year with I think either 62 or 63 was the record. So that was fun.
Yeah, I was a huge Oakland A's fan when they had Ricky Henderson and Jose Canseco. And I got
Yeah.
Jose to do a video for me on autism. And then at what age were you diagnosed with autism?
Um, 9. Yes, they they did testing. They thought it was first cerebral palsy, but when they did testing and stuff, blood tests, different tests to see what it is, and they were able to, UC Davis was able to come up with a diagnosis by 9,
And then what were
which
the
felt good about
circumstances?
getting the diagnosis to know what it is.
And what were the circumstances that led to your diagnosis?
Um, well, they just it runs in the family, so it uh both parents had it.
And then what are some challenges you experienced as a child with socializing? And were your parents able to help you adapt to those challenges?
Overall, yes, they did a good job having family over and stuff, but I was pretty shy. I would usually play on my computer or something. If it got too overwhelming, I would retreat. And the other thing was just at school, I was kind of quiet mostly.
Did
Some
you have any
bullying, but nothing
pets?
too major. One time a kid said something kind of mean and the teacher called him out for it.
Did you have any pets as a kid, a cat or a dog that was kind of emotional support for you?
Uh, we had a couple dogs, and I liked dogs for a while, but one of them, the little ones, ended up biting me, so then I kind of got timid around dogs. But so yeah, I, but I kind of like it. Just depends on the dog. I liked the golden retriever though. He was nice.
And then what are some gifts autism has given you and how these gifts empowered you as a writer?
Well, um, the neuro focus aspect of autism can be actually really helpful, and as because it really helps focusing. Like I can do a lot of reading in a day or two, and when it comes to the writing, um, I just when I was doing script reading, I did some internships at while I was at when I was at and they one was with Mail and Atlas, and then there was and with eclectic pictures and stuff, I was able to focus and get everything done on time. I had a schedule when it came to script reading, and when it came to just writing stuff, I can get stuff done in a couple days, but it needs to be, of course, like edited. But but it just helps the it can kind of the only it has some downsides, the narrow focus is, because there's only certain things I really like.
Yeah. And then what would spark your interest in writing a children's book about fish?
Um, well, fish are really diverse and really interesting. And I was kind of going for when I saw picked up a fish book, I was really interested by the blue tang fish, how it looked, and I also was interested. I really liked how the jackknife fish looked. It was it's kind of an interesting fish with the stripes and everything,
Yeah.
and I was kind of using it as an allegory.
And then who are some of your favorite authors? You mentioned that you read a lot of books.
Um, when it comes to the faith-based Christian side, Pilgrim Progress is a good one because I really like the allegory in it. C.S. Lewis also, and the um on some of the secular side, I liked the how the creator of SpongeBob, so how and I also liked Phil Vitcher with Veggie Tales, and I also I read a lot of different theologians on the I like studying eschatology.
Okay, yeah. Who's your favorite eschatology on the end time to study? What books?
Oh, I like Amir Safari a lot, and I like Charles Riley. I like um the um Woolford, John Woolford, I think his name
Okay,
is.
yeah. And then what are some key Christian themes in your book, The Adventures of Cari and Joe?
Um, I think the most important theme uh, is that Cari has opportunities to take shortcuts, but like when she goes to she's at meets she ends up meeting Alec in the book, who's the bad guy, and they end up at the Hollywood sign, and then he tries to take her to this movie called Sea Thunder, which is a bad movie because it has some bad language and it was PG-13. And so Carrie is sees the temptation because she sees how people are liking the movie and stuff, even though it's not a good movie. And Alec really tries to tempt her into that worldview, but if bad script is a bad script, and she realizes that shortcut could not only change her, as it could also hurt people watching her, like Joe, who's not a believer at the time, and he was seeking the fame. He was really appealed to what Alec was doing, but eventually he realizes the truth because it's not worth gaining the whole world and losing your soul, like it says.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you lose your soul, and I also like how the rich man walked away from Jesus and he was sad about it. I mean, Cari, with her faith, she was able to withstand that shortcut, which I've heard from even people that aren't believers on that part, that they've said that part is really good. I hear that from Christians too, that part is, I've heard from different people about it.
And then what are some experiences you and Carly have in common?
Well, um, she's a delivery fish, which is something that I didn't do, but I the script reading, she was originally going to be a script reader, but when I talked to my editor, we ended up putting her in that as a delivery fish. But that was something kind of in common to working in Hollywood and stuff. And it's pretty autobiographical, her character. A lot of the stuff is very similar with what she likes and what she does.
And what are some of the scripts you've read for in TV shows or movies or other things?
Um, well, when I did eclectic pictures, it was like 25 scripts. When I did Mail-in Atlas, it was 10, but only for eclectic picture, only 5 out of the 25 were ended up produced. And it's very hard for stuff to get produced.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then was it important to you to include a girl character with autism and why?
Um, yes, on both accounts, is I felt that diversity was really important to the character. The autistic element. I have a family friend, and she really encouraged me to think of other people who have autism, and and even some family members that have it. And when it comes to a girl character in just general, there's just not that many of them out there. So I thought it would be a good thing to just on both accounts with the autism and with the I wanted to encourage people who do have disabilities that they can do great things. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean you can't do something good.
And then faith is a central part of your life. How has your faith in Christ impacted your writing career?
Um, yeah, the Second Corinthians 12:9 is my favorite verse. Talks about how power is made perfect in weakness, and how God's grace is sufficient for us. And he was, of course, in that case, he was talking to Paul, but it applies because it does, because it's a in weakness is actually a strength through because God's grace is sufficient.
Yeah,
So
mine's one of my favorites is from there too. 2 Corinthians 4:7. We have these treasures in jars of clay to show this all surpassing power is from God and not from us. And I like the Greek word for power. You know what it is? Dynamite, dunamis. So God
that's
uses
cool.
dynamite for people with us with autism to shake and build the world up in Christ.
I don't know, and he also says he uses the weak thing of the world to confound the wise, but I don't know where that's found.
First Corinthians 1:27
Okay.
through 29. And then the next one is this. What challenges have you experienced in transitioning into adulthood?
Um, well, that's a good question. Even though feel a lot more comfortable as I'm now 29, um, but just kind of a late bloomer with the autism and stuff. I was I go to a Bible college. I was at a dorm for a little bit, but had some health problems. But I'm kind of getting to the point where I feel ready again to go back.
What Bible college did you go to?
I'm currently finishing my degree at Chester Bible College for biblical studies,
Okay,
but
cool.
it's I need 52 units, so that's something I've been working on this semester. Finally felt ready to take some more classes, taking biblical Old Testament literature and field ministry.
And then what advice would you give young adults with autism who want to write a book? I just talked to a girl, Natalie, and she wants to write a children's book. And I told her
Mhm.
about you. And she said, well, how did he get a publisher and what steps did you take to write it, Micah?
Well, first thing is that rejections are going to happen a lot. It's not easy, but at the same time, just got to keep going. Got to keep coming up with ideas, keep coming up with concepts. Eventually, one will stick about. And the other thing is writers write. My creative writing professor said just write basically and
Yeah.
see what works. And some of the other things is just to work and persevere and and try to come up with a concept you like and see um submit it to people like um for like there's different sites to use that can be helpful on like try I went with a hybrid publisher that operated as a traditional publisher just if they liked it, which was encouraging. They saw the potential. So even if it's not all the way perfect, they sometimes will look at stuff.
And then how did you meet Dory, your editor, who edited my book, Adulting on the Spectrum? It's coming out in March.
Oh, um, I got connected with Dolly through Redemption Pass and and yeah, I, I first met Andrea at when she was there and they looked at it and she looked at it, Dolly did and the people at Redemption Pass and then they would once they said yes, then signed the stuff. It was 3 years ago when I found out that they were interested in it. And Dory liked the concept and idea, so she said she would work with me on it. Even though it was
Awesome.
pretty rough, the copy I read it sometimes, and it was pretty rough. The one of the first drafts, but they saw the potential in it to work around it, and I really appreciate working with Dory. She was a really great editor, really great. I really loved working with her and I also loved working with. I had a couple great project managers. I really liked Sarah, and I I had my own illustrator though for it.
So how did you meet your illustrator?
I got connected to a family friend to a person that was connected to our church, but then they moved to Oregon, and she's studying. Her name's Maisie Langham, and she's right now studying for a degree in that field. But my family friend told me about her, so then I saw a sample of the pictures. I told her what I wanted to see for the book and and she sent me some pictures a couple years ago and they were really good. So then I gave her the green light and we worked out the rate and everything, and she played one of the most integral parts to the book. I couldn't have done it without her or Dory or or the project managers, especially Sarah. She was always on top of everything.
And then what were some steps you took to prepare writing? Do you have a special place where you write? With me, I always write in my living room floor. We just bought a house, and when I write in the new house, I'll be writing in the room I'll have as a office. Do you have a special place where you like to do your writing?
Uh, Usually in my room or in the living room, and and yeah, yeah, I just like to just sit there and write, listen to some music, and get inspired.
Do you have a favorite drink you have when you write? Like I like to have tea or
Me too.
coffee.
Tea,
Tea.
hot,
What's your
hot
favorite kind of
eyes.
tea?
Uh, I like mango pineapple tea
Oh, that's good.
and lemon and
Yeah.
chamomile. I like them all pretty much.
And then share a humorous story from your life.
Um, when I just started in acting class at the community college, I was pretty nervous because we were supposed to give a monologue, and I was doing one 127 hours, and I wasn't really sure how to do the concept. So then I ended up I basically under a chair because I was trying to make it look like a cliff, and it ended up working, but I was pretty nervous and kind of shy about it because being in front of everybody.
And then what are some current projects you're working on right now?
Well, I got about 3 chapters done on the sequel, and still got some refining I need to do on the stuff. I got a concept and idea for a sequel to The Adventures of Kaylee and Joe, and I'm hoping that it can, and I'm gonna start look once I feel comfortable with it, I'll start looking for an agent, or or I might just go with Redemption Pass again because I like what they did. Just trying to figure it out. But I hope to get it done by hopefully it'll be ready late 2025 or early 2026. Because last time it took about 3 years to get it out.
Yeah, it takes a long time. My book, Adulting on the Spectrum, I finished writing it about 2021, and it's not going to be out until 2025. So it takes a long time, a
Yeah.
bunch of editors and everyone else. I'm already writing my fifth book on mental health. And
Uh,
I want to encourage everyone out there, buy a copy of Micah Newcome's book, The Adventures of Cari and Joe. This is a great book. If you have kids, they're going to love it. I have an 8-year-old daughter. I'm getting her a copy to read, and I'm going to be able to read it to her. And it's going to have faith based, and it can help kids' faith grow. In fact, Jesus says, I tell you the truth, no one will see the kingdom of God unless they come as a little child. So get Micah's new book and read it to your children, read it to kids in the neighborhood, and see them come to faith in Christ. Thank you so much for letting me interview you, and it was great
Thank you. It was
pleasure.
nice meeting you,
Looking
Lon.
forward to it. Nice meeting you too. And then how do you stop recording?